This is probably the most amazing pair of underpants I've ever seen. Although it's the pink color that tough guys all love. After Steve puts it on, he seems to have a magical power boost. Even with his eyes closed, he can steadily catch a basketball. Then Steve throws the basketball and easily knocks down everyone around him. Just a short while ago, Steve was awakened by the honking of the school bus. He looked out the window at the school bus and immediately realized that he was going to be late for school. He rushed to the closet in a hurry to find some clothes to wear. But when he opened the closet, he found that there wasn't a single pair of underpants he could wear. In desperation, Steve just put on his top and rushed to the laundry room. After 2 minutes of tidying up, he finally caught up with the school bus. In order not to draw attention, Steve lied that he hadn't reviewed his lessons at all. Just as he bent over, Snot saw the pink underpants he was wearing. Steve then realized that he must have mistakenly taken Haley's underpants from the dryer. Steve thought he was extremely unlucky, but Snot beside him didn't think so. He was even curious to ask about the smell of these underpants. On the other hand, Klaus is scratching lottery tickets at home in order to become rich. He finally saw a glimmer of hope of winning, but in the end, the lottery ticket didn't win as he had hoped. At this time, Steve came back to the room and told Klaus about his experience of the day. Steve thought that today might be the luckiest day he'd had recently. He not only had a perfect hairstyle, but also had a delicious French bread pizza for lunch, and he even received compliments from others. The only thing that made him feel a bit uncomfortable was that he accidentally wore Haley's underpants. After listening to Steve's story, Klaus immediately thought that it was Haley's pair of underpants that made Steve so lucky. Steve didn't believe Klaus' words, but Klaus firmly believed that there really were clothes in the world that could bring good luck. To test his idea, Klaus handed Steve a lottery ticket. Steve scratched the coating on the lottery ticket with some doubt, and unexpectedly, he really won a big prize.
Lucky Panties!
Since getting this lucky pair of underpants, Steve has been like having a cheat code on the field. He easily defeated his opponents, and his teammates and classmates all praised his performance. After taking a shower, Steve opened his locker, but found that his lucky underpants were gone. When he saw that his friend had taken the underpants, Steve didn't chase after him, but began to think about what would happen if he didn't have these underpants. He even began to doubt that maybe there was no such thing as lucky clothes in the world at all. But the next second, he was hit by a needle. In order to get back what belonged to him, Steve went to Snot's house with his good friend. However, Snot hid in the house and refused to open the door no matter what. In the end, Steve failed to get the underpants back. To solve the problem at its root, Steve rushed into Haley's room. Haley was very confused about Steve's behavior. Steve told Haley that he had accidentally worn her underpants before, the pair with lace trim. After putting them on, he seemed to be favored by the goddess of luck. But later, the underpants were stolen by Snot. In order to make Steve stop believing in the idea of lucky clothes, Haley told Steve the story of the magic potion in the Smurfs. After Haley's patient explanation, Steve gradually let go of his obsession with these underpants. After Steve left, Haley immediately rushed to Snot's house and snatched back her own lucky underpants.